Welcome back, y'all, and happy Friday. This is the Bluechip Breakdown, and I'm your host, Bull. I want to let y'all know straight out the gate that here in the A, we got a little bit of snow. We probably got about 2 inches, and it's about to start sleeting and all that type of stuff. Now, if you don't know, in the A, whenever it snows, it is a huge deal. The whole city shuts down. We don't really have things in place to, keep this stuff going whenever it does snow, but especially whenever that ice starts to come into play, and it is, slightly starting to come. It's supposed to be picking up here probably within like the next 20 or 30 minutes. So I just want to let y'all know if this stream for whatever reason does stop, it's just because my power probably went out, my Wi-Fi probably went out, but we're going to try to get through this whole thing. Please do make sure to like and subscribe. So today there's several things that I want to talk about. Obviously there will be some updates and stuff, some news that we will be touching on, but also I really want to show the difference between Tennessee's offense, Tennessee's defense, talking more about the pass offense and the pass defense compared to what we saw last night with Penn State and Notre Dame and what this staff could take away from it. And I think a lot of us as Vol fans were watching these games unfold and we're like, dang, how come we can't do that? How come we can't do that? And I mean, maybe it's just because we kind of got blown out in our previous game, but really there is some truth to it. So we are going to go ahead and actually I want to start off with some of the news that just kind of came up here recently. So number one, we talked some over the past couple of days about Coach Eckler, who is our special teams and outside linebackers coach. It sounds like he's not out on the road talking to the high school players and stuff like all the other coaches are. There's been some speculation that he might take another job. And we also talked about potentially what's going to happen with Coach Chop. Well, at this point, I think that Coach Eckler might be out. Don't know when that news is going to come officially, and I don't know that is for sure. The K thing is pointing towards Coach Eckler will not be with Tennessee coming up next season, and Coach Chop would probably end up getting his job, especially for the outside linebackers coach, because outside linebackers coach inside of our scheme on defense would be our Leos. So that is front four. That's what Coach Chop has already been doing. And Coach Chop is an up and coming. I mean, he's a rock star right now as far as going out and getting players, sealing the deal, all that type of stuff. And he's really good with the on the field coaching. And it's going to be good for us to be able to hold on to him by, bringing him up, giving him a higher spot on the staff. That's going to be really big for us because we want to hold on to Coach Chop by all means. But I also hate to lose Coach Eck. I don't know if Coach Chop can do special teams, but we'll find somebody that can, kind of help us out with all of that. Also, Emmanuel Pregnon, and I'm going to bring up some of his clips that we had from before. He's just now leaving from Tennessee. He was visiting us for the past couple of days, and, he's the guard from USC, really good player. And it sounds like at this point, we kind of speculated on it. Does he want to go to Oregon? Because he's already visited Oregon. He's actually from Denver before I said that he was from the Midwest somewhere, but he is from Denver, went to SC. So the question was, does he want to stay out West? Now it kind of feels like he wants to go to the SEC. So he visited us. Sounds like the visit went very well. Didn't want to talk too much after his visit, but it does kind of feel like we're going to have some competition because he's going to be leaving Knoxville to go to Austin, Texas. And something that I had said yesterday is, Oregon might not be the spot because if you look at NIL, Oregon has state taxes, and I think that their state taxes might be pretty high. Tennessee doesn't, and neither does Texas. But I think Austin is a place, as a young man, it's like Austin, anywhere in South Florida, probably like LA. But obviously, whenever you're talking about South Florida and Texas with no state taxes, that could be a problem. And he's also supposed to be visiting another SEC program that he didn't name. So I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this one, but I would say Texas has done a really good job with their offensive linemen. They have two tackles that are going to be like top two round draft picks in the upcoming draft. So they're doing a really good job there. I think that one's going to be tough, but hopefully we can bring him on home. I mean, you just never know. The staff does a great job. Knoxville is also, it's a very, very special place. It just really all depends on what he likes. And obviously being in Austin, Texas, that would be closer to home for him, a lot closer than Knoxville is. And I think that he can kind of get like the best of all worlds, but hopefully, again, we can bring him on home. All right. So let me take this down and let me get to some of the chats from, a few people that are already in here. Thank y'all so much for joining us. From JPad86 saying, Go Big Orange. Thank you for joining us today. You made it to a live stream. We appreciate that. And from Chatsworth 1979 saying, first to upvote. Appreciate that, brother. Y'all already know. Okay, so let me show y'all the things that I really want to see changed with Tennessee on offense and defense. And we've kind of touched on all this stuff. But I think that really every game that we watch in the college football playoffs, and really sometimes even with, these bowl games, this stuff, there's some glaring issues on this team that needs to get fixed. So for the offense, we need a lot more pre-snap movement. You don't see very much pre-snap motion. There's barely any. You don't really see too many shifts and things like that. We just don't do that. It's pretty much we're going to line up, and however we are lined up, typically we're just going to run it. You know what I'm saying? That is not a good look. Just because that pre-snap movement, number one, it gets the defense moving around. It gets them like you could find mismatches, or you could find someone maybe blowing coverages or any of that, not getting lined up right because you're moving around pre-snap. But it also helps the offense out tremendously. Like the quarterback can see, okay, what coverage is this? Because we just sent this guy in motion from one side to the other side. Are they going with him? How is the defense moving based off of that? And now I know what the play is, and I can execute a lot better, understanding for sure exactly what the coverage is. But then you can even change up some of the routes. If there's certain looks or certain mismatches that you want. Whenever you have all that movement, you see how the defense moves to it. And then you say, okay, this is where the hole is. We're going to switch this up because we might not be in the right play call. There's nothing open within our current play call. So we've got to help our quarterback out, the whole offense out, with a lot more pre-snap movement. And you will see as we will be going through the film, because we're going to show you Notre Dame's offense and defense, Penn State's offense and defense, and then our offense and defense versus the Buckeyes. So you can see the differences between everybody compared to Tennessee. And again, it's going to be very, very glaring. So the next is going to be, we need more tight bunch sets. So all that means is we know that Tennessee likes to spread the field out very wide. We have splits that are all the way to the sidelines, even with our slot wide receivers. A lot of times they're very, very far away. What that does is you can't go to the outside. Everything is either going to be deep or it's going to be back to the middle. Okay, it's too easy to game plan for that. And again, whenever you watch us versus Ohio State, it's not that they've got some really good safeties, but their cornerbacks suck. And it wasn't just versus them. It's versus Georgia, it's versus a lot of other different teams. It's very easy to cover there's only a few routes that can be run. So Tennessee does need to tighten things up with those splits and get into some bunch sets. What I mean right there is you might have, maybe 2-3 wide receivers, but kind of like stacked up. You know what I'm saying? Very, very close in the same little area. That way, you've got guys that can go outside, they can go inside, they can go vertical, they can go short, they can run drag, they can run a lot of different things. And it's harder for the defense to key in on exactly what's going on here. So definitely need to get that implemented. And again, you will see that throughout the film. Next is rub routes and mesh concepts. So rub routes, some people call them pick routes. Really all that is having some sort of a route combination that rubs off or pushes off naturally whoever is guarding one of the other wide receivers or, passing threats, period. You have to do that. I don't know. I mean, Tennessee, wait till y'all watch this. All of our stuff is straight up and down. There are 0 rub routes. You're going to see a ton of it from everybody else. I have no idea how you run an offense on this level and you're not doing that type of stuff. So definitely need to do way more of that. And then, it's the same thing with the mesh. The mesh is just, that's that meeting point. We need to set up meeting points that can help our wide receivers get open a lot easier. I don't think it's really been about the lack of talent that everyone keeps on talking about with our quarterback, with our wide receivers. I think that is a lack of doing this type of stuff. So next is going to be more drags and crossing routes. So drags, that's just the underneath route where you pretty much, you're just running all the way to the side. So off of the snap of the football, for those of y'all who don't know what a drag is, you're just dragging across the field. Crossing routes, same thing. Now, Tennessee does a decent job of mixing in some deeper crossing routes, and I think that that's great. But we need more, like intermediate stuff with all of that. Just the route combinations, period, have got to get way better. Next, we need a lot more running back screens. I'm sure that y'all were thinking the same thing last night, watching both of these teams go to work. They're running all different types of screens because both of these teams will also bring that pressure. So the running back screens are there. Tennessee, I mean, we might have run 2 running back screens this entire season. That is not going to cut it. Like, we need to be able to do everything within our offense. It can't just be a few set things. And we think that, hey, we're going to be good, because you're not. Teams are going to figure out how to stop those few set of things. And you have to have other wrinkles to it, or it's too easy to stop what you're doing. And then last thing for the offense is going to be running back wheels. We need to use our running backs coming out of the backfield a lot better with their route combinations, with their route tree. All they do is just like, running back flares. So they just go straight out to the flats. Sometimes we'll see them start off blocking and then they'll just kind of sit it down underneath coverage. I think that that's pretty good, but we need more wheels. I've seen so many teams utilizing the running back wheels with a ton of success, and it's based off of the way that defenses are playing these days. It's there. Okay, so Tennessee needs to do a lot more of those things on offense. Now let's talk about with our defense. We need to blitz more, just flat out. We need to blitz a lot more, and I'm talking about bring 6 or more bodies. Tennessee didn't do that at all versus Ohio State. We'll look at those numbers here in just a minute. But whenever you get that pressure, right, because it just kind of feels like we're playing scared on defense. We're scared, hey, if we blitz, then there's going to be some gaping holes in our defense, and they're going to be able to find it. Dude, we're not facing Tom Brady. These are not NFL quarterbacks. All right. Howard wants to come back for another season because he's not NFL ready. There was no excuse for us to not heat him up. Now, I mean, I'm not going to say there was no excuse. I kind of get it because up to that point, what teams were doing was, they were dropping 8. And dropping 8 was having more success than anything else. Now, Ohio State has switched some things up. And that's not too much on Tennessee's staff per se to start the game off. But, I think that tonight, Texas will blitz a lot more. They're going to bring 5, 6, probably 7 people, just to try to heat him up, because whenever you are outmatched physically, there's great wide receivers on the outside. You can't give them all day to throw. You can't give them all day to get open. You've got to blitz. If you're not getting there with your front 4, you've got to bring the pressure. So we'll see that throughout this film as well. And then next, the Leos, we got to let them rush more. I think we drop them back in the pass coverage way too much. We're getting too cute with that. Let those guys do what they're good at. That's rush the passer. They're not very good at, dropping into pass coverage. And every time that they do, they're dropping into the same little areas. We're not mixing stuff up enough on offense or defense. It's way too still. It's way too, like we're scared for something bad to happen. Man, look, there was a play last night where Penn State got an interception because they were blitzing, they were getting heat, they was getting pressure all the time. And on one play, they dropped one of their ends back into coverage. And guess what? It was a perfect call for the play that they knew was coming, to get that pick. You set the offense up whenever you're getting pressure and you're not just always trying to be cute. So want to see more of that. Next is going to be let the rushers hunt. So with this, what I'm talking about, y'all, is I think that our front 4, they're too disciplined with their pass rush lanes, way too disciplined. At some point, we got to say, hey, guys, just go do what you do. Whatever it takes to get to the quarterback, go get to him. Because I think Penn State has a really good, line. I think Notre Dame does too. But the way that they're getting pressure, especially I would say more so Penn State, is that they let those guys hunt. Like, they're not too worried about the pass rush lanes and stuff. Affect the quarterback. Do that first. The pass rush lanes won't mean as much. Whenever you get the quarterback moving around and running and scrambling stuff, all of a sudden, like their game, all of them, I mean, almost every single quarterback that's ever played versus pressure, any sort of pressure, they're not as good. So we had to do a much better job of that. And, I think that we're a little bit overly disciplined up front. And the last thing for both of the teams is going to be to adjust. Okay. I am so like, anybody who watched this game last night, Notre Dame and Penn State, the first half, it looked like Penn State was definitely going to win. But what does Notre Dame do? They adjust at halftime. And then all of a sudden they come out, they go straight down the field. It's like a hot knife through melted butter. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just go straight through Penn State's defense because they adjusted. And then Penn State adjusted back. And it made it into a really good game. But that's what good coaches do. You have got to adjust. Our staff, for whatever reason, is not good at that, unless the team that we're playing up against is just not nearly as talented as we are. On this channel, y'all, I'm about winning national titles. To win national titles, we're going to face really good teams. There's a lot of them out there. And you can't beat them if you can't outcoach them, if they're more talented than you. And you can't outcoach them if you cannot adjust. Saw the same thing versus Georgia. Winning the game, we start off winning 10-0. I think it was 17-17 at halftime, something like that. Second half, we don't score a point. We don't do a thing. We make Carson Beck, who for most of the year looked very, very average. He's talking about coming back and playing college football again. Same story, right? Same story, different team. We made a very, I would say he's a good quarterback. He's not a great quarterback, okay? Made him look like he was a daggone first-round draft pick. Made him look like he should have been the number 1 player taken overall because of the way that we played defense, the way that we didn't switch anything up. And, again, same thing could be said about our offense. Let me get to some of these chats here real quick. I want to try to stay ahead of all of that. Let's start off right here with my dog, J-Pat, 86, saying Texas and Florida also has more fertile recruiting grounds as well. Yeah, they do. I think that both of those teams are going to be problems for sure. Florida is loaded. I mean, Texas is too, but I think per capita, Florida's different. Florida per capita might be the only place that I look at and I say they're definitely better than Georgia is because it's so many different areas. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot of good talent everywhere. South Florida, I would say South Florida by itself that's a different beast. Like, I don't know what those dudes, I don't know what they made of down there, but they are different. Also from JPad86 saying stacked up like a wing, switch routes, worked so damn good in 2022 with Hyatt. I haven't seen very, if any, rubs. Yeah. I mean, we're not doing that, buddy. I mean, I'm telling you that right now. We're not doing too much of that this season. And that's a major part of the reason that the offense is not as productive. We will get into the film here in just a minute, y'all. From JPad86 also saying the long developing deep routes get Nico sacked a lot. Man, I cannot wait till y'all see this. That's mostly what you're going to be seeing today. 5 to 7 step drops. Yeah, 5 to 7 step drops with no underneath, nothing. You know what I'm saying? You might have one underneath route. That's not enough when everyone else is going vertical. Got to have some better route combinations. From Austin Umbergay, I hope that I said your name right, saying, go Irish, instant classic last night. Yeah, man. Y'all look good. I think that Marcus Freeman is a heck of a coach. Obviously, a whole lot better than Brian Kelly. You know, that was a huge upgrade for y'all. Imagine if you put Marcus Freeman where Brian Kelly's at with LSU. Imagine how good that'd be. You know, and something else that I love, and hold on, I'm gonna get to that thought here in just a minute. Let me get to this one first. From OBRDY saying, Bull, I think we look better than both of these teams. Okay, I just feel it was anyone but Ohio State in the first round. We could have beat everyone. I can't wait to show y'all this film, and y'all tell me after y'all look at this stuff. I can't wait to show you because you're gonna see it is very, very different. But let me kind of finish that thought of what I was saying. I love that Marcus Freeman, being a younger coach, goes out and gets coordinators that are older guys, right? That have been around football longer, that have been coaching in football longer. What I love about that is, y'all, the best sort of a coach to have is, I would say, maybe an older coach that is willing to change things up, that's willing to change with the times. It's not stuck in their ways because they've seen so much. They've pretty much seen everything. So they know how to adjust based off of the previous stuff that they've seen. That is what I love about, how he's built up his team, how he's built up his coaching staff. And I don't know how long he's going to hold on to both of those coordinators, but right now I like them. I like them maybe versus, I don't care if it's Texas or if it's the Buckeyes. I think that because their staff is so good, they're going to have a chance to, win versus either one of those teams. So those are just my thoughts. Let me get on to this next slide, y'all. This right here is going to be, this is the pressure. Okay, so is that what this is? Okay, no, I'm sorry. This is actually going to be the different routes. Okay, so this is from the playoffs for all three of these teams, and this is not all of the routes, but I want to kind of show y'all the difference in the routes that we had just talked about that Tennessee needs to try to run more. So if you look at outs, okay, Tennessee is running less outs than either one of these teams. We all know what out routes are. If you look at the deep out, Tennessee's running less of that. We're not running any deep outs. That's crazy. So comebacks, Tennessee's running more of those. Again, everything's going to be vertical. It's either, hey, we're going deep, or we're coming back, or we're running digs, and we'll run digs to the, double digs, going to the exact same spot. I cannot understand why we just mix it up some. So let's keep it going. So hitches, again, that would be pretty much for me. That's vertical. You're going deep or you're coming back. Tennessee is running more of that than anyone else. Actually, Notre Dame is very close to what Tennessee's been doing inside of the playoffs. Curls, again, comeback routes. Tennessee's running way more of that than anybody else that we're looking at right now. Now let's bring it on over to the drags, right? So Tennessee's only running drags 2.2% of the time. We can see that the other teams are in double digits. Crossing routes, we're not running any crossing routes. Is that crossing? Or yeah, crossing routes. We're not running any of those. And y'all can kind of see how the rest of that stuff looks. Going to be a whole bunch of vertical stuff. So all the underneath stuff, Tennessee's just not doing enough of it compared to other programs, compared to these other teams that are, made it deeper in the playoffs, that have had more success in the playoffs than Tennessee has. Got to mix some things up. You cannot just live and die with everything's going to be vertical unless you've got a bunch of juggernauts out there. Okay, like that's the only way. So next one, okay, this is about pass blitzes. So we've kind of talked about this before, but this is going to be more up to date. So as far as the pass blitzes, Penn State was at 40% over the course of the playoffs. Notre Dame is at 43% pass blitz. Tennessee, 22%. That's not enough, y'all. That is not enough. Cannot live like that. You just can't, unless, again, you've got juggernauts. Like, we're playing like we've got a team full of, the highest caliber 5-stars that you could possibly find. We got a team full of them. And we don't need to have any wrinkles. We don't need to outcoach these guys. We're going to play straight up and down football and hope that that's good enough. That's not good enough. That's never going to be good enough. So, and then if you come on over and look at how many people were being brought on these pressures, you can see that for the 5-man pressures, very, very comparable there. But then whenever you get to the 6-man pressures, this is where it starts to Tennessee at 0% versus the Buckeyes. We did not bring any 6-man pressures. Notre Dame at about 23%. And then Penn State is at 7.5%. So obviously the blitzing helps. And then Penn State was actually bringing some 7-man pressures too at about 4%. So that's how all of that looks. Obviously, there is a huge difference with all those things with our team. So we will get rid of that. And I'm going to get back to just a few more chats, and then we're going to go ahead and jump into the film room and see how everything looks. Let me see. Where do we leave off at? Okay, wow, looks like we got a few more that came in for sure. All right, so right here from Larry Martin saying, back in the day, crosses and screens was our bread and butter. Yeah, it was. Now, you can't live and die like that, but it has to be a part of your offense. Like, there should not be anything that you could even think of that Tennessee's not running. That's what makes a good offense, that you can do everything. You can't just say this is what we do, we're not going to do anything else, and just let that be it, because you need to have answers. You can't have answers with the same stuff, right? But you're exactly right with that. From SEC football, what's going on? Saying, Bull, do you cover Tennessee baseball? Yeah, we will be covering baseball whenever baseball season starts. I know that we've got a really good team coming up this year. I think that Coach V, dude, he's going out and getting a whole lot of talent. So very excited about baseball season. I think that we could go back to back on them. From Austin Embergay saying, facts, glad BK left. Sorry for LSU fans though. Yeah, I mean, I ain't gonna say I'm necessarily sorry for him, even though I do kind of like LSU, but I feel what you're saying, because Brian Kelly is never gonna get over that hump. That's just not, I don't care what program you put him with, he's never gonna get over that hump. He's just not one of those coaches. And I don't want to see that Coach Heupel is one of those guys either. Coach Heupel has got to adjust. And that, that's got to trickle down to the entire staff. From Aaron Atkins saying, just seeing Carson Beck is in the transfer portal. I just came in here, maybe old news, go big orange. Yeah, man. So I just realized that, or actually some of the people on the channel told me that yesterday. I had no idea. But that is huge news. I don't think that Carson Beck is going to be as productive really anywhere else. He had everything there at UGA. So if anything, he's probably going to end up going backwards. From Chatsworth 1979 saying, I love that game last night. Go Notre Dame. Yeah, so I was actually going for Penn State. Something else that I want to kind of put out there is that I think that Coach Franklin, it's not his fault that they lost this game. That's going to be the narrative. But look at what the quarterback did. I think the Coach Franklin coached a hell of a game. Again, we're talking about how much better I think that they've been coached than Tennessee's been coached. And yeah, actually on paper, Penn State is a more talented team. But even still, I mean, they came out, they took their punches, they got punched, and then they countered. So it turned into a real fight. Notre Dame is a very good football team. So I give Coach Franklin, all of his flowers. He went out, got his offense changed. Offense looked a lot better. Now they need some playmakers on the outside of wide receiver. I don't think that they, the wide receivers, I don't think they did anything. But it's even more impressive to me that you can score points, you can throw the ball pretty well, right, with really only tight ends and daggum running backs. If Tennessee could add that to what we're doing with our wide receivers, we'd have something really, really nice. All right, so let's come on down to the next one right here from David Speaks. What's going on, David? Saying, I'd take both their O-line coaches over. I think that it'll be, the more that I'm watching film, the more that I'm disappointed with the way that he's teaching. But at the same time, what I will say is that our route combinations and our play calling has not helped the offensive line out. Y'all are about to see it in just a minute. Let's get to just a few more here, because I want to try to stay as up to date as possible. From Austin Embergay saying that Al Golden has the Irish defense rolling with 5 defensive starters out for the season. I had no idea that y'all were missing that many starters. But yeah, I love Al Golden. And actually, if this is your first time watching this channel, I will show you right here what I had put up, because we thought that we might be losing our DC coach, Tim Banks. And these were my top 3 guys that I wanted to go out and get. You see, we've got Penn State's DC out there, and then we have yours, Golden. So he is really good. Excuse me, y'all. Let me make sure I get this picture real quick. But yeah, so he's very good, and it sounds like Clemson wants him. I don't know if y'all can hold on to him or not. I would love to have him, but for me, I still would take Michigan's DC over any DC at this point. I was talking to my pops last night, and he was telling me that that the Lions DC is really, really good. I don't know if he would come to college or not, probably not. But I mean, he's another guy, but it doesn't really matter for us because Tim Banks is going to be sticking with us, and I think that he can get it fixed. Okay, so already got to that one. All right, so what we're going to do here right now, y'all, is we're going to start to pull up. Let's start to pull this up, okay? We're going to start off right here. So just to let y'all know the order that it's going to go in every single time, you're going to see Tennessee's offense versus Ohio State. Then we're going to see Penn State's offense versus Notre Dame's defense. Then we'll see Notre Dame's offense versus Penn State's defense. And then we'll see our defense versus Ohio State. It's going to go in that order. So we're going to have 4 clips. So we'll kind of like let this thing go. So this is our offense. This is actually, I think, the first play. So look, boom. Pay attention to the route combinations. Pay attention to everything that I just talked about. Okay, I want for y'all to see the difference in how these routes look. Look at how easy it is to cover this stuff. So look, boom. So Nico has time, right? 3, 4, 5 seconds. He had the time, but guess what? No one's open. They're covered up easily because everyone's pretty much going vertical. Everyone's going vertical. We have one crossing route. We've got a running back coming out of the backfield on a flare. Now let's look and see how Penn State looks with their offense. Number one, pre-snap movement. Okay, pre-snap movement's there. Notre Dame's blitzing. Okay, blitzing. Guess what this is? Running back screen. Perfectly called play. They knew that, hey, based off of this look that we're giving Notre Dame, we're expecting a blitz right up the middle. So we know that the running back screen is going to be there. This is coaching, guys, at its finest. Get your guy out in the open field. Let him run 20 or 30 yards. You know what I'm saying? Come on. Easy stuff. Now let's see what's Notre Dame doing here. All right, we didn't see pre-snap movement on that, but look at the route combination. This is quick stuff. This is, basically a 3-step drop. If you look down at the bottom of the screen, okay, so boom. If you look down at the bottom of the screen, that tight end that's inside of the slot, you're going to see him on a, very, very quick out. Okay, a short quick out, and watch this rub combination. Boom, see that right there? That is a mesh concept. Do you see how the wide receiver up at the top, on top of the tight end that we just talked about? See how he is pushing that cornerback off? See how they're outflanking and out leveraging the defense with something very simple? See, you don't need a great offensive line whenever you're doing this. That was 1, 2, 3. I'm throwing it, and it's there. See that? That's what I'm talking about, guys. We don't do any of this. I mean, we don't do any of this anymore. I don't know what happened to it. So now this is our defense versus the Buckeyes offense. So number one, what you're going to see is the same thing. All right, let's look at their formation. That's a tight bunch. What you're seeing up at the top with that trips, that's the tight bunch that I'm talking about. And even the wide receiver down at the bottom, he's tight. He's tight, or he's close to the line of scrimmage, right? He's close to the offensive line. Tennessee's not going to blitz on this play. We're actually going to do a good job. We don't need to blitz because we're going to beat them early on in the game. What do we talk about several times? Whenever you know a team is scared of your pass rush, they don't perform as well. The offensive line doesn't. The quarterback definitely doesn't. And what's going to happen right here is Bryson Eason, boom, he's going to beat this guy like he stole something. That should have been a sack. I think that was the 3rd down, but we all know that he ended up getting a face mask. And, that was pretty much all she wrote. So now we're back to Tennessee's offense. Wide splits, okay? It's kind of tied up at the top, but at the same time, that's the boundary side. So it can't be spread out too much. Watch this. Vertical, vertical, vertical. We have, one underneath. We got some comeback stuff. That's hard, guys. It's hard when everything is just vertical. It's straight up and down, literally straight up and down stuff. So boom, see it again. The offensive line's holding up pretty good. The ball should have been out, right? Because that should have been 3-step drop. We had enough time to run 3-step drop. Now let's look at Penn State. Love this right here. Running back wheel. We talked about this. Let me take it back. Right here. Okay, so look at the running back. All right, again, this is a bunched up set. See how bunched up everything is? Running back wheel coming out of the backfield, and then look at the natural rubs. Look at the natural stuff that's going on with the wide receivers more to the inside. Now, they bunched up. They're going to the inside. That naturally slows down everyone on the defense that's coming from the inside. You're outflanking them with the running back on a wheel or, on a rail route, whatever. He's getting to the outside of him, and really, this ball should have been out by now. I mean, this was a bad pass, kind of going back to what I said about Penn State's quarterback didn't play well, but also, hey, give Notre Dame's defense credit. I like what they're doing here. Guys are having to work over the top of stuff, but they do a good job of closing. So, they didn't really bring any pressure on that, but they showed it. It looked like the pressure was coming. So the ball had to come out quick. Now let's look at Notre Dame's offense. Pre-snap movement. We're going to motion the tight end across the formation. What do we see? Someone's going with them. That usually indicates man-to-man coverage. Usually, you can move over and in play a zone, but typically it's going to be man. So look, blitz is coming. Okay, blitz is coming. It is man-to-man coverage. But what do we have here? We have a wheel route with the mesh concept. So bring it back a little bit. If you look at the tight end that is he's standing up close to the line of scrimmage, lined up in the slot. Okay, so boom, same thing that we just saw earlier, where it was an out before. Now it's a wheel. Okay, so we did it short. Now we're gonna go deep with it. Turns into a wheel, and guess what? Excellently thrown pass. I don't know if excellently is a word, but y'all see what I'm saying. It's all about the route concepts. It's all about mixing things up. Right here, we have a 3-by-1 with the Buckeyes. Tennessee is only showing 3 down linemen. This is something else that I just talked about. We have a Leo that's actually playing linebacker. Those Leos, yeah, they can drop in coverage sometimes, but they're hunters. They're pass rushers. Let them rush the passer. No need to, necessarily be dropping 8 right here, but that's exactly what Tennessee does. Let's see what also pre-snap movement, running back motions out of the backfield. You know what I'm saying? He's moving out, and boom, what do we have? Mesh concept, right? We are natural rub routes. Same thing that we just talked about with Notre Dame. The outside wide receiver comes to the inside, and we've got a linebacker, and I wish that y'all could see my cursor, but a linebacker is guarding this running back on a wheel. He's getting outflanked. It's there. Okay? So that was a good play call, but also Tennessee does not bring any pressure. The dropping of 8 did nothing for us right here. That did nothing because we got outflanked. So this is how you can beat teams that are, playing this sort of coverage. You have to be able to use all of your playmakers. So now we're back to Tennessee's offense. Here we go. A little bit of pre-snap movement. Okay, we have time. Now we don't. Why don't we have time? Well, because the routes are taking too long to develop down the field. Let's see. What's the routes? All right, so we've got an in, we've got an out. We've got 2 vertical routes on the outside, and we've got a running back that's actually wide open. Not wide open, but he is open out in the flats. This is on Nico. He probably could have hit this. So that one wasn't absolutely horrible, but that just kind of goes back to my point about really Ohio State's defense. They didn't do a whole lot. We've got a whole lot more, y'all, that we can get to. But excuse me, they're not doing a whole lot right here. You know what I'm saying? We're just not giving them any daggum looks. This is as straight up and down as it could possibly get, and we still have a guy wide open. So I don't think that they're this juggernaut team that everyone tries to make them out to be. I think that we got flat out coached in such a horrible way. Now, this one right here, we all know that Penn State has that really good tight end, number 44. That's a gadget piece. This is utilizing your playmakers as decoys or whatever. Now, I don't know if Penn State maybe had something dialed up where if we get a certain look, then we're going to stick to number 44, stand right here with this kind of like Wildcat sort of a look, where he's lined up as a quarterback. We'll stick with that. And if we don't get that look, then we're going to go ahead and, shift and switch to something else. I think that might have been what it was. So again, with all the pre-snap movement, you see how the defense is moving. You have an understanding of where you want to go right here. So right there, Notre Dame brings a little bit of a blitz. So easy stuff, right? Pitch and catch, quick stuff. You know what I'm saying? We've got people who are going deep that's running things off. Right, so the slot guy, he's going to run things off. Boom, runs it off, and then guy on the outside, just going to sit it down with the hitch. It's on time. We knew where to go because we had pre-snap movement. So, all of these things obviously can help Tennessee out tremendously. Now, let's see. Again, motion the running back out of the backfield. I don't know how many times Tennessee went empty versus the Buckeyes, but I think that that's definitely something that Texas might utilize tonight. Go empty, because whenever you go empty, typically you're either going to get some very favorable zone coverages, and it's going to be very obvious because you're spreading everything out, or you're going to actually get that one-on-one coverage that we all know you want to get that versus Ohio State. Their cornerbacks are trash. Now, what they did versus Tennessee is they played off coverage a lot with their cornerbacks, did the same thing versus Oregon. If you can motion a guy out of the backfield, go empty, and man, look, Notre Dame did a beautiful job of this. I know that if you watched it, y'all know what I'm talking about. They motioned him out so that number 41, the linebacker, had to cover him out in space. They said, hey, this is a mismatch that we can use. That's coaching. That's coaching. That's the chess match. Now, on this one, we didn't see that happen, but it does happen as the game kind of goes on, and Notre Dame took great advantage of it. So on this play, everything is spread out. Let's see. What all do we have here? All right, so first and foremost, what you have to love from Penn State is, okay, y'all are going to spread us out. Well, then we're going to heat you up. So they're bringing, I don't know if this is a linebacker that's coming off the edge, if that's a slot guy, safety, or what. But, hey, he's coming, times it up perfectly, and they had to try to dump it off quick, but it's tough because that pressure is coming. It's tough to be accurate. So right here, again, Tennessee sitting back. I think, we might have brought one extra, you know what I'm saying? But it doesn't really matter because we're not getting consistent enough pressure. So now Ohio State feels like, well, we're going to throw the ball down the field because, hell, they ain't blitzing us. We got all freaking day back here. We got all day. Let's take our time, get, a nice one-on-one coverage with, one of the best players in all of college football. And, I mean, look, Ricky Gibson was in great position. But Jeremiah Smith could play in the NFL right now and be very productive. That's how good he is. You cannot let those sorts of playmakers just run wild. You got to heat the quarterback up. You have a better chance to heat up the quarterback and have success from that perspective than you do playing coverage. We all know that if you got 4 or 5 seconds to stand back and throw it 7-on-7, it's flag football. There's a reason that a lot of people can play flag football. I don't mean to knock flag, but not everyone can play real football because real football, there's a physicality part of it. You got to bring the physicality, especially to the quarterback. It's easy to stand back there with no threat of getting hurt or getting hit and pick folks apart. Look at this, y'all. So, Nico kind of fumbled that snap. He has time if it's a quicker route combination, if we've got better underneath stuff. We're running 2 digs. So 2 guys going to the same spot. Digs take forever to daggum get open. We've got one guy up top that looks like he might be sitting it down. It was pretty much a vertical route straight up and down. I'm either going straight vertical or I'm coming back, vertical in the opposite way. All right. And then at the bottom of the screen, same thing. Nico has nowhere to go. He has nowhere to go. So he has to try to force it into, he's got 2 people in the same spot. Now there's 4 defenders. That is a coaching problem. That is a route combination problem. That is a scheme problem and a play calling problem. We got to do better, man. Like anybody, I'm not gonna say anybody, but it's we all know that the Buckeyes have a very talented team, especially with their safeties. We're going to go to the heart and soul, to the teeth of the best part of their defense. Why? Why would we do that? So, just frustrating stuff. Again, you saw Nico. I think he had enough time. It wasn't all day, but watch the way these other teams operate. They don't need all day. You know what I'm saying? The ball's coming out. So that one, he had a lot more time. So obviously his pocket is way cleaner. He's got plenty of time. Let's see. What is Notre Dame doing as far as blitzing? So Notre Dame decided to kind of sit back more in coverage right here. They only bring 4. And Penn State's offensive line is really good. So is Notre Dame's. He's got all day. Look at this. There's people that are underneath. They're kind of bunched up here. Might not be the best route combinations and stuff on that play, but y'all get my point, right? And so here, pressure's coming. Wow. I don't know if they blitz on this, but I'm going to tell you, Buddy from Penn State, he is the real deal. Look at that. Let him pass rush, coach. Let him go get that quarterback. You don't need to worry about the quarterback scrambling in this pass rush lanes. Sometimes you just got to go get it. He's playing with one arm, and he's affecting the quarterback like that. Now, here we go. Look at this. This is us showing a blitz. I think that we might have some here, y'all. The pre-snap movement, right? They're trying to outflank us again, but what do we do here, y'all? We're actually blitzing. So we only end up bringing 5, but guess what happens? The quarterback is scared. And this is a little bit further into the game. I want to say that Ohio State might have been winning, 21-28 or something to nothing. It was something like that, but they were up big. So he really hadn't been getting hit too much. But if you show it and if you actually bring a look at this, oh my God, I got to get out right now. And it's not accurate. So that was one of the few times that Tennessee was actually able to bring some pressure and, things look good. Here, what do we have? Vertical on both of the outsides. Looks like we might have had some sort of a crossing route that's, just not open. And then we've got a dig. So Nico's running for his life, doing everything that he can because everything's covered up. Again, if you're going to run digs and stuff back to the inside, what's going to happen is the defense knows that because we're spreading the field out so much. Let me get, okay. So right here, look. So the field is spread out and we're going 3-by-1. This is actually a little bit better because at least you've got some guys that their splits aren't as wide. So you can actually, utilize the field a little bit better, but we probably have some tendencies that we have not got away from that teams are keying in on. So they know exactly where to be. Look at that. The middle of the field, there's 3 people in the middle. We're not going to let you hit us over the middle. And they've got people that are playing over the top because everyone else is going deep. Very easy to stop. Very easy to stop if you're going to play like this. Nico doesn't have a chance. The offensive line doesn't really even have a chance. But, Nico tries to make something happen. At this point, Dante Thornton is wondering, or he's thinking, hey, I'm going on to the league next year. I ain't about to hurt myself. You know what I'm saying? Trying to die for this ball and stuff. You got to give Squirrel credit, though, because at least he tried right there. Now, pre-snap movement. Go to one side, come back to the other. What do we have right here, y'all? I mean, a whole lot of movement, a whole lot of, hey, we are setting up a wall here. And this is actually a screenplay. I love this because this is a tunnel screen. Look at that. Boom. To, again, a guy that is 6'6", 260 pounds. And we're not going to try to utilize him in a way that he can't be used. We are going to send him straight to the middle of the field. Okay. We're running things off. We've got all the blockers set up. Bring him back, right? Easy throw for the quarterback. He's about, 7 yards away from the quarterback. Easy pitch and catch. He can move well for his size, but that's where the problem is. We know he's going to have to go up against somebody in the secondary, one-on-one, straight head-to-head, no angle tackling. That's a place that those guys do not want to be in with a player that big. So I love that play call. I also like the fact that Notre Dame's guy stuck his neck in there and made a stop. Right here, Penn State, bring that pressure. The ball has to come out quick, but they can do it just because the underneath stuff is there. They're running underneath stuff. So let's see it again. Boom, right? So we've got double slants down at the bottom. And then, we've got a slot fade, and then we've got a hitch. So easy stuff. That's three-step drop versus a blitz. Let's take a look at a few more of these. Okay, so right here, Tennessee was showing pressure. We only brought 4. That's a drag right here. Okay, this is a drag route that they're going to hit on this play. So boom, okay, running off the coverage with the inside guy. He's going vertical. Again, rub concepts, mesh concepts. So right here. All right, if you look at that O, if you look at the player in red, that's kind of like on the top of the O, you know what I'm saying? That's on the other side of the 50 with that O. Watch what he does to, I don't know if that's Boot Carter or who that is. He's going to run right past him. Now, they've got something coming up underneath that. He doesn't even touch him, but it's still like you've got to give the ground because he's running past you. You can't just let him cross your face, even if it's vertical. You can't do that. You got to give some ground so it opens things up underneath. Get the ball to your dadgum playmakers and let them eat. It's simple, guys. It's so simple. It is embarrassing. It's not almost embarrassing. It is embarrassing how pathetic. I mean, just how unbelievably bad these route combinations have been. So on this one isn't horrible. So we're going to have an in down at the bottom. He's running an in. The slot wide receiver, kind of a drag. I don't know what that route really was. And actually on this one, look, notice that because we have route combinations, people are actually going to end up getting open and we're going to be able to hit them. And it's on time. So look, boom, look, watch this, y'all. So if you look up at the top, notice how those wide receivers, they're kind of crossing. The guy that's on the bottom, he's going to occupy the flats with kind of like a hitch sort of a route. And then we're going to run just a little, I guess like smash route right here versus cover 2. But because we have good route combination, Nico can be on time. Look at how effortless this pass is, too. I'm going to let this thing run in full speed, but pay attention to the wide receivers up top. But watch how effortless this pass is because now what we're doing is utilizing route combinations. Everything's not just straight up and down. It's not just vertical stuff. It doesn't take much, y'all. It does not take much, just a little bit. So here, again, running backs coming out of the backfield. It's very similar concepts right here from what we just saw from Tennessee. So on this, they're going to try to work that smash area. So the slot wide receiver looks like he's running a wheel route. Looks like it might be a wheel stop. Okay, yeah. So wheel route, and then the running back comes out of the backfield, occupies those flats. And really, the running back was wide open, and so was that tight end. The ball is overthrown, but it's about the combinations. If you can just get in some sort of combinations that make some type of sense. If you can blitz, right? If you can blitz on defense, let's see. What is Penn State doing right here? Do they blitz or are they just getting this with just 4? They just get this with just 4. Guys are hunting, man, that tackle. Dude, that defensive tackle, he threw that guard or whoever was blocking him, threw him down. That's just dominance. That's a little bit different. So that's pretty much it. Obviously, I do have some more that we can take a look at, but I think that y'all get my point. Hopefully, y'all do get my point. I want to get to the chat here. And actually, I can just kind of like let a little bit more of this roll. But I want to see what y'all's thoughts are with what we just saw, with what we just witnessed. Because again, I think it's very simple. It's not hard. It's not hard stuff to do. I just have no idea why Tennessee got away from doing it. It's like we just got very stubborn and stuck in our ways. And, we're just going to daggum be straight up and down. And, we're going to live and die not changing up a daggum thing. So let me see if I can. Okay, looks like we got a lot of chats that have been coming in. I'm going to try to get to everybody, but I have to refine my spot from where I was at. Okay, so I think that we might have left off. Okay, I think right here. I think that we were right here. Okay, no, we weren't there. Let me get rid of this. All right, so Austin Ambergay is saying next man up mentality in South Bend. Yeah, man, Tennessee has it too, and I really do like what Marcus Freeman is doing with that program. I have to be honest, I really do. From Steve Sullivan saying David had the same idea as me. All right. Also, we might find Sports Talk Jay here too. Yeah, man. Hey, look, I love Sports Talk Jay. That is my dog. That's my dog now. Hey, look, we love us some Sports Talk Jay on this channel. That is my dog. I actually, we probably need to start doing a little bit more content together. So from the wise man saying that Darnell Wright and that great line play was a big reason for the success in 22. Long developing routes can't work without it. Yeah, I think that is a really good point, but also something that we had touched on in a previous stream or previous video was that actually Nico had more time this season than Hendon Hooker had in 2022. Obviously Darnell Wright was really good playing at tackle. Our tackles have been pretty iffy, but I would say that our tackle play, our tackle play was probably better in 2022 than it was in 2024. But you're exactly right. You can't throw the ball down the field if you don't have the time to do it. The coaches have to know that. They have to know, hey, our tackles aren't doing a great job. We got to do some quicker stuff. And for whatever reason, they would rarely ever do it. David Speaks saying, Steve, you switch from off the hooks to bull like me. Yeah, man. I also like off the hook sports. I think that they're doing some nice stuff over there too. Okay. So let me get on down to John right here, who is a member. Thank you for being a member of the channel. Saying a good program does not change their value or core fundamentals, but they never remain stale, for sure. From a scheme standpoint, they're always bringing in people for new perspectives. This is what we need. And John, you hit the nail on the head. I'm not saying we have to change the entire offense. What I am saying is that we got to add to it. We can't continue to do the same stuff because if we go out there, we're doing the same stuff, the defense is going to do the same stuff. It's not going to get any better. Can it get a little bit better if you get much better players? Yeah, but that's so hard to do because we're competing with everyone else. So it's a lot easier to say, hey, we're going to have a offensive player friendly system, which is what we used to have. But now that teams have adjusted to us, what is our counter to it? It's got to be to switch up the formations that we get up that we get in, switch up the different route combinations and things like that. So, John, I think that we are on the same page right there. From David Speaks saying, watch Boogie video right before Dave and Caleb. I'm feeling good about Emmanuel Pregnon. Yeah, so I don't know. I feel decent about it, but I definitely wouldn't say that I feel good. Now, well, I definitely wouldn't say that I feel great. I'll say it that way because Texas can pay. They don't have state taxes, just like Tennessee doesn't have state taxes. I don't know how, I don't know what sort of a place he wants to live in, but Austin probably a little bit more to do there. I guess like from a partying perspective, then maybe it is in Knoxville. I think some of the actual like natural nature type stuff, probably going to get a lot of that out in Austin too. I think that there might be just more to do from top to bottom. And obviously, Texas, their offensive line, they're doing a better job than our offensive line has. No one's really saying, hey, Texas's offensive line, they've got issues here and there. They had a backup tackle playing for, the past couple of games, and they're still winning. Tennessee's been having our starters out there, and they haven't looked the best. One of them looked, I think, pretty solid towards the end of the season. But I know that tackling guard isn't the same spot, but that's just kind of like what my point is I don't know. I felt better with us versus Oregon than I do with us versus Texas. And then there's some mystery SEC school too. Have no idea who that might be. You know what I'm saying? So I can't even speculate off of that. From Steve Sullivan, he said, man, Bookie gets on my nerves. Yeah, man. I don't watch him anymore. Just for those of y'all that don't know. I have no idea what his issue is with us on this channel. It came out of thin air, came out of absolutely nowhere. We never talked bad about him or nothing like that. But I will most definitely say that I'm not tuning in. I'm not tuning into nothing that he does by any means. From Money Controls It All saying GBFO, FUGA, you already know. All I have time to say today. Well, thank you for joining us today, my brother. Saying LOL, working but listening. Slap that like button. Like it's a drooling UGA fan pissing on your tire. Love it, baby. Love it, love it, love it. Yeah, please do make sure to like and subscribe. Thank y'all so much. From the wise man saying off the hook has too much clickbait. Okay. Okay, let's see what else do we have from David Speaks saying that Abdul Carter, that's his name, man. Listen, Abdul Carter is the truth. Abdul Carter was a beast last night. Which Pierce would have been more dominant this past season? I'm gonna tell y'all something about Abdul Carter. Whenever I'm looking at him, I think he's a 4-4, maybe even a sub 4-4 guy coming up in this year's draft. I wouldn't be shocked at all, y'all, if he runs a 4-3. I don't know what his size is. Looks like he's about at least 6'5", might be 6'6". I think he's a 4-4, 4-3 guy. But I also think that James Pierce is too. I think that James Pierce is obviously he's more muscular, he's more filled out. He's a true 245, might be closer to about 250. He's a true 6'5". I think that he's just as fast. I think that the difference here, y'all, is what I had touched on before. James Pierce, we moved him around a lot, which I do like. I think that I would love for him to be able to go on the left side of our D line versus the right tackle, which Abdul Carter did a ton of. I don't know why more teams don't do that. Hey, take your best pass rusher and put them versus their worst pass blocker, probably, right? Go to the right side. You know what I'm saying? Like do more of that. But anyway, I think that it's some of that. I think that we dropped him back in coverage way too much. Abdul Carter barely drops in coverage. He does some, but barely. Mostly he's going to be rushing. And also, we are too disciplined with our pass rush lanes. Now, you need to be disciplined, but you also got to let the guys loose. I don't think that we did that enough. As good as Penn State's front looked, Tennessee really had so many dudes up front that should have probably been a lot more productive from a pass rushing perspective. But also, whenever you actually are blitzing more, you can show those blitzes, right? You show the blitzes, and then you can drop off, and it throws the offensive line off. It throws the quarterback off. It throws everybody off, because they're expecting for the blitz to come. So now you can get the pressure only bringing 4 and kind of showing the blitz because you blitzed early. So I think that there's a lot of things from a coaching perspective. And as much as I hate to say this, it's true that I think has actually held some of our guys back. And I can almost guarantee you that whenever James Pierce goes onto the league, he's going to be very productive. He's going to look really good because they're going to let him do what he's good at, which is go get the daggum quarterback. But hey, excellent point, y'all. Let's see. What else do we have right here? Okay. So from Austin Ambergay saying, I'm hearing rumors he will be at OSU after the season. So I know that, I'm probably coming in kind of late to that comment, but I wonder who you're talking about right there. I'm not quite sure. Let me get to David Speaks saying, Bull, love your stat breakdown. Thank you for that. It shows how we need to improve in certain areas. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that you like it. That's, I want for people to be able to kind of see what I'm saying, because sometimes just telling you, it might not make as much sense. From Austin Emergay saying, hard over talent every day. Ask FSU 100%, man. I think that you obviously do need both. Now, let's not act like Notre Dame isn't a talented team, because Notre Dame's roster is a lot more talented than Tennessee's is. I think Notre Dame has like 57 4-stars, only 1 5-star. Tennessee has 4 5-stars and like 37 4-stars. So y'all are a very talented team, but you are right. I would personally probably take the hard over talent all day long for sure. That's what, man. Look, if you play with all out effort, it doesn't, you know what I'm saying? Or if you don't play with all out effort, it doesn't matter how good you can be. It's about doing your best. So I'm on page with you with that for sure. From Steve Sullivan saying, Bull is cool. Matter of fact, Bull is cool. Matter of fact, type coverage. Okay. Thank you for that. From JPad86 saying, too many advertisers and Hooker wants you to hit the like and subscribe button 69 times a show. Okay, I'm sorry. I really didn't want to read that off. I'm not on here to talk bad about any other channels, because I love most of them. You know what I'm saying? As long as you don't have a problem with us, we don't have a problem with anybody. I think there's a lot of great content out there, and we watch most of it just like y'all do. So let's get to this one from Trent B saying, I really thought Penn State could have made it to the championship game after having some momentum after the Oregon loss. Go Big Orange. Yeah, so I knew that game last night was going to be really close, and I almost say 24-27, but either way, I knew that it was going to be close, because those two teams do a lot of similar stuff. But man, I really got to tip my cap, and I've said this several times throughout this stream. Got to tip my cap to Marcus Freeman being a hell of a ball coach, and I'm going to do the same thing again with Coach Franklin. Same thing. I think that those are two very good football coaches, and we'll see who ends up winning this game tonight. I'm very much looking forward to it. I know that y'all are too. Okay. So I apologize for that one. Let me get to Deborah P. What's going on, Deborah? Saying the thing that I hate to hear coaches say after a loss is they did some things we haven't seen before. 100%. It seems like a good coach could adjust to any scheme being used. Am I wrong? You were 100% right, Deborah, like you always are. Like you always come with nothing but facts. But yes, that is so true. So number one, yeah, if teams do some things that you maybe didn't see on film, because yeah, you're gonna watch a whole bunch of film, and even like I watched a lot of film on that game. May have watched more film versus Ohio State and versus Georgia than any other game. Obviously, for the Buckeyes, I had a lot more time to watch it. But a lot of the stuff that I saw that the team start off doing is about, some of it, I would say more on defense, is about what I thought you should try to do, just based off of the film. But to your point, if you're seeing that that's not working, if you're seeing that, hey, they're doing something different, you should have an answer to that. It shouldn't be, wait a second, I'm gonna scratch my head. They're doing something different. Well, now what do we do? We're just SOL. We can't do a thing now. That is very concerning. Excuse me. That is very concerning. That scares the hell out of me moving forward. We got to find coaches that can adjust. And I'm going to tell you, calling plays, especially on that level, it's quick. I mean, you got to be able to figure it out really quickly, but you got the resources to have people that are looking at certain things for you come together, maybe after a drive or two, or, whatever. You should have it fixed, especially after halftime. No excuse to come out of a half with no adjustments. Huge problem. David Speaks saying Banks left Penn State for us. So he was way better than Bob Shoop was. Oh, well, I mean, yeah, I think he's a lot better than Bob Shoop was for sure. I definitely listen. I think that Coach Banks is a very good DC, but he's going to have to get some things fixed for us to get over the hump, because I'm not just satisfied with making it to the playoffs. I kind of, I expect that. But I also want us to win a national title. I want to see us beat Georgia. I want to see us go down to the swamp and win. I want to see us win on the road consistently. I want to see us get over certain humps, certain hurdles. And I think that we can do it. Let's just adjust a few things, tweak a few things. From BRDY, I know this is off topic, but what do you think about Carson Beck going to the transfer portal? Yeah, so I kind of touched on this earlier. I think that, number one, it sounded like his girlfriend goes to school there. So maybe that's the reason for that move. I think that his draft stock in the NFL wasn't nearly as high as maybe he wanted it to be. For me, he would be, second, third round guy. Now, we all know the NFL teams will reach for a quarterback desperately if they need him. But, I just think there were so many quarterbacks that from top to bottom looked better than Carson Beck. If you also think about how much talent he had around him over the past few seasons at UGA, it's like, dang, dude, how much can you do on your own? Some things he can, some things it's like you really need some help to get things done. But long story short, I think that I think it's a really bad look for UGA. I think that he, wherever he ends up going, probably going to take a step back from how good he looks as a quarterback. Because again, whenever you're surrounded by so much talent, if you can't, that's probably what his ceiling was. Now, can he get better and maybe start to take over some games? We'll see. I doubt it. But I think that, I'm not worried about him going anywhere. I wasn't worried about him really at Georgia, honestly speaking. I think that he can make all the throws, but it's just something about his processing that I'm not too in love with. But yeah, it's actually pretty funny. Georgia fans are kind of freaking out over Gunnar Stockton being their guy when they could have had Carson Beck again. So ha to them. From FS saying Carson Beck will go outside of the SEC if he's smart 100%. 100%. I think, he's already played inside of the SEC. Go somewhere that might be easier for you from that perspective. And maybe that could help him out too. Going to the U, he's not going to see as good a defenses. He's definitely not going to see as much consistent high-end talent in that league. But we will see how does he fit into that scheme, because I don't think he fits that scheme too well at all. From Steve Sullivan saying Carson Beck is really 14 years old, just full of steroids. That's pretty funny. From JPad86 saying that face mask killed us. That yeah, it did. Dang, I must be really far behind. From David Speaks saying Becker's going to Miami. His girlfriend is there. Yeah, for sure. From my dog G White saying, yep, 100%. Don't know what you're talking about right there, but I appreciate that. Okay, let me see if I can get to some of these new ones. Okay, so right here from Steve Sullivan, thank you so much for this. Saying 42 people in here and 14 likes. Hit that button, y'all. Thank you. Yes, please do. Just hit that like button, because that really does help us out. David Speaks. I hit the button for the man. Thank you. Bull is working hard. Thank you, Steve. All right, let me see. Right here from David Speaks saying Texas plays a high safety to keep Smith in check. Yeah, I think that they are going to I think that they're going to mix some things up. I really would expect that they try to blitz more. Now, the other thing about Texas, we talked about this so many times over the course of this season. For all the things, all the flaws that I saw with Texas was within their running game, was within their running defense, or it was more so with their running defense. But as far as pass defense goes, on all three levels, all of their guys are good at, the guys up front, good at pass rushing. Their linebackers are good in coverage. They're good at blitzing. And they've got a very good secondary. Very good secondary. Not everybody is great, but I would say from top to bottom, very good. So I would anticipate that they're going to be able to slow down the Buckeyes passing game. The question is, can they slow down their running game? And can Texas run the football? And will Quinn Ewers have a uh-oh moment like he typically does in these sorts of games? That's where it's at for me. Obviously, y'all, I am going for Texas. I would love to see them win because I'm sick of Buckeye fans. From FSN, who are our starting inside linebackers coming into 2025? So I would say that at this point, it's probably, I would say Arion Carter, Jeremiah Thielander. They're going to get the first opportunities. But I wouldn't be shocked to see Edwin Spillman or really even Jordan Burns have an opportunity to step into one of the starting roles. Maybe not to start the season off, but at some point. Really would not be surprised. I think that those guys are going to be really, really good, but I also love Jeremiah Thielander. I think that he's a dog. And, he's gotten better every single season. From Greg Voiles. Hope that I'm saying that name right. But what's going on, brother? Happy to see you back in the house. Saying that the O-line has to hold up longer, though. Yeah, I do not disagree with that by any means. Offensive line has got to be better. We got to be better everywhere. Offensive line is definitely a huge point of emphasis for us. But we also can help them out. That's my whole point, is that once the season started, you had who you had. They were who they were. What are you going to do to find a way to win? Because you can't say everything's vertical. They're not holding up for more than a couple of counts. It's got to be quick. Let's open up our quick game. Tennessee would not do that. See what I'm saying? That's kind of like where I'm at. So from David Speaks saying it's Thielander or Spillman. Yeah, I think so. I think that those two guys are going to be fighting for a spot. But again, do not sleep on Jordan Burns because Jordan Burns is going to be really good. As long as he can stay healthy. Knock on wood. I hope everyone stays healthy. From Chatsworth 1979 saying can't wait. Yeah, I'm happy that y'all are excited about it too, man. And when is the championship game? Is the championship game next week, or do we have a couple more weeks to have to wait? I'm so sick of waiting to watch big time football. Last night's game was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. FS saying no Arion. No, I think Arion is a starter for sure. Arion's one of your starters. Who's going to be next to him? I don't know. Steve Sullivan saying Peely gets an injury red shirt in another year. Boy, would I love to see that. I think that, unfortunately, though, I think he already got that medical red shirt. But I don't know. Maybe they'll change something where players get another year. Because, man, if we get back Keenan Pili, I think if we had Keenan Pili for this whole season, we might still be playing. Because even Saban had talked about this, that our defense got a lot more basic once he left, which I don't understand that. I mean, I get it. He's really good. But come on. I mean, you can't just switch up the whole identity. You got to let these guys play. All right, David Speaks is saying Arion is outside linebacker. Yeah, so, I mean, really, within our nickel base, they're really both inside linebackers. It's going to be a Mike, and then it's going to be a Will. But they're really both, for me, I call that inside linebackers. It's not an outside linebacker for me unless, they're like an edge rusher or unless we go to a 4-3. See what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of how I'm looking at it. But I get your point, and I think that you might be right on that. But also, AC can play Mike or he can play Will. I think he can play any linebacker spot, and he's really, really good. From JPad86 saying AC will be starting linebacker for sure. It's a place we need help. Position group went down a lot when Pili went out. Yeah, but you know what, though? I think that they really picked it up. I think that they did some nice things more towards the end of the season. Now, obviously, we lost Jalen Smith. Jalen Smith is the main one that I'm talking about. His growth from the time that he first started to really get thrown into the games to all the way whenever he stopped playing, it was so tremendous. He took giant leaps. Edwin Spillman, obviously being hurt for a lot of the year, he did get to play in the last two games, and I think in a couple of the early ones. Either way, I think that he did take some steps. You saw some good things from him. Jordan Burns finally getting to see the field after being hurt. He took some steps, and then obviously Caleb Perry is gone. But I do think I get your point. It's a place that we need to get better at, but I think that over the course of this offseason, with these players having been thrown out there, some understanding, like what it's going to look like, I think that they know what they want to work on, where they need to get better at, and they will be able to do that in the offseason. We've got a huge influx of very athletic linebackers coming in as true freshmen. I looked at Harmon as a guy that might come in already at a physical point where he can actually play. The other, I'll say the other three will have to pick up either weight, pick up speed, things like that. But I think that we're about 4 to 5 deep with really good linebackers to start the season off this year. Whereas last season it was, we were probably really only had 3 guys that we really trusted. So I think that we are taking some minor steps forward there, and hopefully it will make a very big impact on our defense for next year. From Steve Sullivan saying our receivers ran their routes, then just stood around. Yeah, that's the other part of it, y'all, is that with the routes that we run, there's not a lot of scramble drills. So now quarterbacks move and you have to move with them. That's another part of our offense because it's so straight up and down that there's not always a lot of room for that, even though I've seen it in previous seasons. We actually broke that down whenever we talked about the 2022 offense versus 2024. You would see those guys moving within their routes. Like they would get to their break. It's not there. I'm going to slide over just a couple of steps. And I'm also sliding over a couple of steps to open up the other routes. That's something that can be taught. That could definitely help us out. Greg Vols is saying good points. Thank you for that. All right, let me see. How many more do we have? All right, so we're going to try to get to everybody before we wrap it up. From Heart of Sports saying, and I rock would say Ohio State isn't juggernaut, it's Cope. They're going to blow every team they play out in the playoffs. Hey, listen, I don't think I understand what you're saying. Yeah, and it's definitely not Cope. It's not. I've seen them be really good, but hopefully what y'all saw whenever we're looking at the film is you can understand how basic the things that Tennessee was doing from a past game perspective was. It was very basic. It's not like we were running some crazy combinations and all of that, and they just had the answer for everything. See what I'm saying? Like it was so straight up and down that, dude, a high school coach could figure out how to stop that sort of an offense. That it's too easy. But yeah, look, they are very good, but Texas can match up with them. Okay, Texas can match up with them on paper. We'll see. Will Texas have a good game plan dialed up? I don't think that Ohio State's going to blow them out tonight. I don't. I think that they definitely could win. I do not see them blowing them out. Something else too that I want to kind of touch on. Let me come right to this point. Something else you have to understand that Ohio State did switch up a few things, and it was more so of, hey, we're going to go to our guys. That's the main thing that they switched up on defense. They switched up how they play their coverages some, but that was new. Whenever Tennessee played them, that was new. Whenever Oregon played them, they only had 1 week of film. Now there's been 2 weeks of film out there. Typically, if you talk about any player, any scheme, any of that type of stuff on the higher levels, like NFL level, we know that Sark was an NFL coach. Those guys get adjusted to stuff with 2 weeks worth of film. There's 2 weeks worth of film out on the Buckeyes right now. So I think that they will know what to do, how to, beat the coverages, how to beat the offensive scheme and all that type of stuff a little bit better now that it's changed some. So wanted to put that in there too. I don't think that they're going to blow them out. Now, if they do, then yeah, maybe we could call them a juggernaut. But I'm still going to, I don't know. I don't know if they will blow out Notre Dame either. Because I think that Marcus Freeman can definitely coach. From okay, so I think we just got to this one. All right, so actually, it's like that one came in twice. From Matthew Wilkins saying, "Good afternoon, Bull. Good afternoon, Matthew. Thank you for joining us, brother." From JPad86, I don't understand why our linebackers played off dragging receivers, didn't touch those fools, knock those jerkers off. Hey, that's an excellent point. Yeah, for sure. Like if anything crosses your face, you don't just let anything cross your face, especially, if it's a drag underneath. Hit them. You got to, boom. You're exactly right. That's exactly how you're supposed to play that. Now, on the one clip that I did kind of break down a little bit more, they had to give a little bit of depth because there was a wide receiver that was crossing their face vertically. So they had to give some ground. It was a really good play call. It was a really good route combination, but that's coaching. That's something that, pretty much anyone can do. All right, let's get to the next one from Thomas Orzak. I hope I'm saying that right. Would Tennessee have beaten Oregon? Not sure. Or PSU? I don't know. Excuse me. I don't know. I think that how we played versus the Buckeyes, I don't know if we would beat any of those teams, honestly, just because it's so straight up and down. I don't know how many teams we would have beat on that day. We probably would beat Vandy. I don't know if we would have beat some of the upper echelon. I don't know if we would have beat Ole Miss, who didn't make it to the playoffs. I don't know if we would have beat Florida. Because even our route combinations versus Florida was better than what we saw versus those Buckeyes. You got to find a way to get a lot more, you got to open things up a lot more than that. From Heart of Sport, okay. Dang, that one came in several times. From Unsung saying, I think Jordan Ross is going to be a beast. I agree. Jordan Ross is going to be an absolute and total dog. And David Speaks is saying, I feel like Joseph West, Ross, and Herring will be a great 2 deep. Yeah, our defensive line is still loaded. We got to let those guys go hunt. JPad86, J. Ross will be better than Pierce. With Coach G and Coach Chop in place, we will always eat. Good on Leo, guys. Bull been saying Ross will be better. Yeah, I have been. I think that Ross will be for sure. I don't know if it'll come necessarily next season, but at some point before he goes on to the league, he's going to be that dude. Chatsworth 1979 saying Notre Dame's adjustments made all the difference at the start of the second half, 100%. All Vols Talk Show saying Go Vols, just started covering my Vols. Your channel inspired me. Hey, that's awesome to hear, man. And I'm gonna definitely check you out. Everyone that is watching, make sure y'all go check them out. You know what I'm saying? Give them a like, give them a sub. I know how it is whenever you start, man. It's just all about kind of getting things going. But yeah, I will most definitely be checking you out, brother. Thank you for tapping in with us. From the Sunken Grave saying January the 20th. Okay, so that's when the national championship is. Okay. So we got about 10 days from now. From Sam Hargrove saying Bulls saw Notre Dame running a shuttle pass last night and thought back to the start of the season with teams getting pressure. Why do you think Tennessee quit running these plays? So that shuttle pass, it worked a couple of times earlier in the season. But the thing is, I haven't really even – I mean, I don't remember anyone running that well last night. I can't remember anyone running that well for a long time on most levels of football. Outside of like the Kansas City Chiefs, they run it better than anybody does. But that's one of those plays that, yeah, I mean, it can work, but you need to have something that comes off of it. You know what I mean? Like you need some wrinkles to it. I would love if our staff would just be able to, and I don't know if Andy Reid would do this because I know he's pretty busy. I think that he might sit down with Andy Reid and just kind of pick his brain about the way that he's setting plays up, because that's like we need a lot more of that. I think everyone can use more of that, because for me, he's probably the best play caller. Him and maybe the 49ers coach. Those guys are really good at calling plays if you're talking about just best of the best. From JPad86 saying love the engagement with chat. Sets this channel far apart. Thank you for that. I'm happy that you enjoy that. I make some comments talking to others in chat, but love how you give your input. Yeah, for sure, man. We definitely want to tap in with everybody. That's the main reason that we do these. From Larry Martin, what do you think about getting a good H-back to help out the run? So H-back is do you mean halfback or do you mean H-back like a tight end that's kind of, it's playing almost like a slot? Yeah, so I think that Tennessee's got a lot of good tight ends that could definitely do that sort of an H-back role, but I do think that Tennessee has to go out and add another running back body for sure, just because we don't have enough numbers. 4 running backs in this league, that's not enough. You need at least 5. I don't know if we're going to add one right now. It sounds like they could come after spring, but at some point, you really, really do want to do that. From Vol Fan for Life, what's going on, brother? Saying what up, Bull? Man, I think coaches got to self-evaluate. If they do, then we can really be dangerous. Yeah, I think that they need to, and I think that they need to kind of talk to one another too. See what I'm saying? Like, I think that maybe you could have some of the people on defense kind of talk with some of the offensive guys, and that can go back and forth on, hey, I'm noticing some of these tendencies with you. Maybe you want to kind of switch to this, because as much as you would think that would happen, that's not always the case. Like, that doesn't happen as much as y'all might think with college coaches. Now, I think the good staffs do that, but I don't know how much that's happening with Coach Heupel's staff, because we do have so many tendencies that are pretty glaring. From Chatsworth 1979, I think Texas is hacked to be the underdog. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a role that it kind of feels like Sark is really playing into. You know what I'm saying? I've heard him say several times, and you can tell that he's pissed off. And Sark is one of those coaches. He's got a dog to him. He's got a real dog to him. And he takes that type of stuff personal. And these are games that he typically thrives in. Typically, I saw him be the OC with the Falcons. Whenever we were underdogs, I always felt great about our chances because the offense always looked really good. So I think he's going to have a very good plan. He's going to have his team fired up and ready to go. And I think that can make all the difference. Also, you could look at it from the other side. Are the Buckeyes going to be overconfident in this game? I could see that because they're getting a little bit cocky. They're getting a little bit full of themselves. From Steve Sullivan saying, lots of people down on Nico. I feel that's unfair given his age and experience. Next season, I believe the expectation should be higher, and I hope that he delivers. Yeah, I'm not down on Nico. I mean, obviously, there's some things that he could have done better. But as a freshman, like you said, to your point, you're going to have growing pains. That's going to happen. We came into the season saying, hey, Nico's going to throw some picks. He might throw more than what we've seen in previous years. You know what I'm saying? Or, with previous quarterbacks. But he's going to be better for it. This was his learning moment. This was his learning season. And what I saw towards the end of the year is a player that really wanted to win, that was doing everything that it took to win. Hearing that he talked to the staff about, hey, what's going on with the scheme? That was one of it. It sounded like that was part of the conversation. Hopefully they will work in concert with him, with everyone, so that we can get it figured out. If you give Nico the types of route combinations that we saw from the other 3 teams that we looked at today, Nico is going to be incredible. I think he would win the Heisman just because he can make all the throws and do everything. All right, y'all. So let's see. All right, so that is going to be it, y'all. I wanted to try to get to everybody, but we've been going for an hour and 15 minutes. So we're not going to take up too much of y'all's time, but thank y'all so much for chiming in. Thank you so much for watching. We always appreciate all of this support. Please do make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see y'all on the next one. Thanks. Peace.